It's the magic music. That means we've got an interview. I'm joined in the studio today by Rob from Chase Buchanan. Good morning, Rob from Chase Buchanan.
Good morning, and to everybody.
How are you, sir, today? All right?
Absolutely fine. Hot, but okay.
So, we're air-conditioned. We're trying to do our bit. This is probably the coolest place in the Algarve right this very minute in time. Okay, so Chase Buchanan, just... For those that don't know, we've got a couple of adverts for Chase Buchanan. And I think you sponsor an hour. Actually, I think you.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, we do drive time and we do ads in between. But basically, we are a firm of independent financial advisors on an international basis. We follow UK lines. We're fully independent. So. Getting advice from us will be solid.
When you say you follow UK lines, I think the guidelines.
Yes, yeah.
Do they differ from country to country?
Yes, they do, but the vast majority of countries in Europe will have based a lot of their rules and regulations on the UK system, and particularly Portugal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what sort of things do Chase Buchanan offer?
Right. Mostly, of course, financial advice, financial planning, tax advice, a general, what I would call holistic view, holistic planning. So we look at the whole picture, not just, say, somebody's pensions or somebody's life plans or investments. We look at the whole thing, like a jigsaw, to make sure that all the pieces fit into one picture.
Any age person?
Any age?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, in the 80s, financial advisors were quite new. They were looking after the yuppie types who suddenly came across a pile of money who didn't know what to do with it. I mean, what sort of things do financial advisors... I mean, what sort of advice would you'd be looking to give to people?
Here, well, the market is obviously predominantly UK expatriates. For us, and one of the big issues would be pensions coming out of the UK. But another really big issue at the moment is non-habitual resident status. It's a really critical issue for a lot of people.
Now, I hear this, I think, on the advert. We've got an advert for some non-habitual... What you just said.
That's it, that's one.
Let's bring it to NHR.
NHR, right.
Explain that to me, because I have no idea what that means.
Okay, right. Non-habitual residence effectively is a tax concession given to incomers by the Portuguese tax authorities. Okay? Now, it's split effectively into two parts, pre- and post-2020. The other factor to take on board is that the NHR status only lasts for 10 years. Okay. Now, if you got NHR status before 2020, the tax on your pensions, your overseas pensions received here, naught. Okay? And the same for dividends, royalties and interest. So, for 10 years, for non-Portuguese income, you pay no tax. Okay. It changed slightly in 2020, where pensions went to 10%. The other three remained at naught. So it's still a pretty favourable concession. But the problem is what happens when NHR finishes. It finishes in 10 years, okay, and there is no renewal. The people who've got the problem here are those who obtained NHR pre-2020. So let's say somebody got it in 2015. It will end in 2025, in other words, 2 years hence. And at that stage, the status will finish and your tax position will go to the local marginal rates, okay? And there's nothing you can do about it, really. I actually worked out a few figures earlier. Somebody on a pre-220 NHR with an income of 50,000, their tax at the moment is naught. Okay? After NHR finishes in a couple of years' time, that's 13,000 tax. Even worse, at 100, the tax then becomes 33,000. So people go from naught to, say, 13 or 33.
Oh, literally overnight.
Absolutely. And a lot of people do not plan for it. You know, they can't, in a way, they kind of sleepwalk into it. So we've got a 10-year holiday. This is fantastic, great. Let's play golf. Let's go down to the beach. Let's have a really good time. See the family. Fly here, fly there. 9 years down the line. Oh my God, what the heck's going to happen now? Okay, it's a big problem, and a lot of people don't plan for it. A lot of people don't really take much notice of it. But when it hits you, bam, it's like a brick wall.
So you can help with this, or do you have to apply for NHR?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
So if you've got a pension coming in now, you if you haven't applied for NHR, should you be paying tax on it?
That's a tricky question. It really depends on, say, the amount of the pension. Okay. By and large, I would say generally the position would be, yes, get NHR. Yes, get it, because it does give you that, as I said, that 10-year period of kind of.
Well, it gives you a 10-year break. Give you a 10-year break. Getting your money that you work for.
Yeah, absolutely. But the point is, like everything else, time crashes on you very quickly, and before you know it, 10 years is there, and you'll go. Whatever happens, really, for those pre-220, their tax bill is bound to go up, because it's naught at the moment. Okay, so after the 10 years runs out, it's got to go to something. And the tax here on pensions, the top rate of tax here is 48%.
For non-residents?
No, for residents. For residents. The top rate is 48%. And at the top of my head, it starts, I think that 48% starts at just over 78,000, okay? Which really is not a lot. And when you compare that to the UK tax rates, this place is quite punitive, when it comes to tax rates. But the problem you got is, what can you do about cushioning the effect of the rise? Now, there are plans that you can make. You can structure various vehicles. It won't prevent a rise in tax. It will not maintain 0% tax, or maybe...
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
But you can help...
Reduce.
Yes.
Reduce it. That's the whole point. I can't eliminate it, but I'm pretty confident that we could reduce it. That's the whole point.
Just get somebody ready for it, really.
Absolutely. So if you don't, so what are the options at the end of NHR? Either you stay here and pay higher tax, okay, or you probably leave. You go back to the UK, or you go off somewhere else.
God, you don't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Who wants to do that?
Who wants to do that?
Just looking out the window now, what have we got? Blue sky. You look out the window in the UK, what have you got? Grey, drizzly, mizzly.
Slightly less tax.
Yes, absolutely. So it's worth talking to us, because there are options, there are plans that you can take that will reduce that rise in the tax, okay? And all I'm actually saying here is that it's well worth exploring these options, because otherwise you're suddenly going to be faced with a tax rate of up to 48%. And who really wants to go anywhere near that?
I suppose it's better to go to them before they come to you.
Yes, absolutely. Well, obviously, part of the reason I'm here today, obviously, is to spread the word, I hope there are a lot of people listening who are affected by this.
Well, we have a lot of older listeners and stuff, and there's a lot of people here that have retired here for a better life. And the last thing you want to do is have the government take half your money.
Absolutely. Hole in one. So that's really my objective. That's my plan, to basically save people tax and prevent them having to make crazy decisions. I know of people who are leaving Portugal. Some are going to Andorra, some are going to Singapore, all this kind of stuff. So in the later years, who really wants to be upping stakes and going off here, there and everywhere?
This is the country where people retire to because the golf and the weather, it's on the doorstep to go back to the UK. It's the place that they all come. Everybody knows that.
Exactly. So why are you putting that in jeopardy by not planning previously? So if you run up against 9 years and 6 months, you really have got a bit of a problem. If you start planning in year, say, well, really the best time to start planning is when you get NHR. So let's say that's not feasible or that didn't happen. So let's say somebody's got, say, 5 or 6 years left on NHR. That's still enough time to get some tax-efficient investments in.
So is this purely on pensions that
no.
This is any income that you have?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's interest, dividends, and royalties. Don't forget. So they're all at naught. Okay.
Yeah.
The pensions, of course, is the big one because that is by far and away the biggest slice of people's income down here. So they are the ones that you've really got to look at. The pensions, because I think as everybody listening will know, Portugal doesn't run in a straight line. And that applies to pensions out of the UK. The taxation does vary. The treatment does vary a wee bit. So it would be well worth, listeners, talking to us so that, I can analyse the pensions and tell them exactly what's going to happen at the end of NHR.
And if they haven't applied for NHR and they've just sat on, like, the pensions just arriving in.
Right. It depends. You really need to apply for NHR without going around the houses, basically as soon as you get here. So if you're an incomer and you arrive here, you really need to apply for it straight away.
Okay. So the NHR is, for those that don't know, it's the Non-Habitual Residency Licence. Yes?
Yep.
That's right. I knew I'd heard it.
Yeah, that's it.
So, because when I heard that, I thought that was for you if you were a non-resident.
No, it isn't. It's if you are a resident, okay? It is confusing. A tax concession called non-habitual residence, it's a bit quirky, to say the least. But it is a straightforward tax concession.
Okay, so it's absolutely worth. And what worst case scenario? Somebody's moved over, been here, and they just haven't done anything.
Well, there is a problem on that. The criteria for application is that you must not have been resident here in the previous 5 years, and you must be effectively tax resident in the current year. Okay? So for most people who arrive here, the 5 years is irrelevant. Yep. Okay? So soon, really, if applicable, depending on income levels and lifestyle strategies, so on and so forth, it's probably best to apply for NHR status as soon as you get here.
Okay, and for those that haven't and are listening now and this is new to them,
yes,
they can still probably...
Possibly.
It's worth speaking to you about it, though,
yes,
because if you can...
absolutely.
And it won't get backdated. If they're applicable for it, it will start from when you apply for it.
Yes, absolutely.
They don't backdate it to whenever they came.
No, afraid not. No, afraid not.
Well, it's better if it happens from when they apply for it, really, because then it starts down. They've got 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Will it change?
Oof.
Will the length of time, as the cost of living rises, will the length of time go up? Will they add another year on?
Oh, that's another good question. Golden visas, for example, have just
finishing, aren't they?
Possibly now going to be amended, okay? There's a lot of debate about what I would call favouritism, discrimination. So in other words, a section of the population get a favourable tax treatment, which is not available to all. Yeah, will it change? I don't know. I really don't know. It's possible.
Who made the non-habitual residency licence? Is that the Portuguese government that brought that in?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so if you haven't sort of been involved and you've moved here to not get involved in all that, there's a big chance you won't know about it.
Oh God, absolutely, 200%.
And it only benefits you.
Oh, absolutely.
As in not you, but the person who needs it.
Yeah, it's almost a kind of like a too good to be true syndrome, and you got to grab it. But remember, there's a massive sting in the tail, and that is when it finishes, it can't be renewed. Okay, and your tax rate is going to go up if you've done nothing in the meantime to cushion that. Okay, I can't stop it going from 0 to 30-40% or whatever, but I can mitigate it. I can reduce it.
You can help them get rid of that. That's what you are around for.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Okay, so just quickly fire through there. We've got the just get you plenty of time for the NHR.
Absolutely.
Yeah? Okay.
The more time, the better.
And they can contact Chase Buchanan on the website, Chase Buchanan.
Yeah.
ChaseBuchanan.com.
Yeah.
ChaseBuchanan.com and social media if they need to.
Yes, absolutely. You can get me at Robert.Webb, easy, Robert.Webb at ChaseBuchanan.com.
Dead simple.
Dead simple.
Double B?
Double B it is.
Robert.webb at chasebuchanan.com, or just go to www.chasebuchanan.com as well. Listen, if you got any money coming in, and what do we say? That it's not just pensions, it was
dividends, interest, and royalties.
Anything like that. You got anything like that coming in? Don't get stung and get the NHR sorted. The non-habitual residency licence through Chase Buchanan. And Rob, thank you for turning up.
Well, that's brilliant. Oh, I'm really, really grateful for your time.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
I hope we get the Algarve sorted out.
That's next week.
Thanks, man. Have a good day.
Yeah, pleasure.
And there's Robert from Chase Buchanan at robert.webb, double B, at chasebuchanan.com.